All right, football fans, how we doing? So, time again for my weekly picks. Here we are on week 7. Before I get started, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. Getting close to getting this channel monetized would go a long way to help me out. Just pop that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. So, before we get to the week 7 picks, what I always do is I go over how I did in week 6. It was actually my best week so far. So, let's get into it. First game, I had the Chargers 36, the Cowboys 31. These are two teams that you can never bet on. The only thing that you know is that whichever one you pick, they're going to screw you over. Cowboys ended up winning it 20-17. Next up, I had the Chiefs 40, the Broncos 13. I did not peg the Broncos defense to be the team that would slow down the Chiefs offense, but it happened. Just not quite good enough. 19-8 Chiefs. Looking forward to the Dolphins matchup with them in a few weeks. Next up, one of the biggest shocks in my San Francisco 34, the Browns 12. You guys know I'm a Brock Purdy fan. And up to this game, picking San Francisco to score 30 points or more had been perfect. Browns get it 19-17, and they are currently in a playoff spot in the AFC. I know it's early, but the fact that we were talking about that, December 28th, I believe, Browns versus Jets could actually be what decides which one of those two teams makes the playoffs. Next up, I kind of got it close to right. I had the Cardinals 24, the Rams 9, and it ended up being the Rams 26, the Cardinals 9. Two teams going nowhere fast. Next up, I had the Jaguars 26, the Colts 19. Got that one correct, 37-20 Jaguars. Colts get the bad news on Richardson there, so even though they are technically in a spot right now or near a spot in the AFC, I don't suspect they're going to be hanging out there too much longer. Jaguars look like they've righted the ship. All right, I had the Commanders 28, Falcons 22. Went my way again, 24-16 Commanders. Washington has been sneaky. I wouldn't call them sneaky good, sneaky competent. I think that's the word I would look for in terms of the Commanders. Next up, the big shock. And I knew it was going to be close. All right. And I knew somebody was going to score 20. I got not too bad. I had the Eagles 20, the Jets 16. They ended up 20-14 Jets. Nobody saw that coming. I was talking with Kyle about this earlier. Looking at the Jets' schedule, they could easily, I won't say easily, they could win 10 games. That even without Aaron Rodgers, with the schedule that they have laid out, considering the teams that they've beaten, they beat the Bills, they beat the Eagles, they could win 10 games. I would not be shocked at all if they end up sneaking in as a wild card. All right, this one. I had the 9s and the 4s. I had it kind of, I had Bills 39, Giants 14, ended up 14-9 Bills. Again, I did not peg the Giants defense to be the team that would slow down the Bills offense, as you hear Fluffy snoring because he's tired from a trip to the river. Next up, I had the Bengals 21, Seahawks 19. Picked a close game, got a close game, 17-13 Bengals. Bengals are now 3-3 after starting off winless. Next up, I had the Lions 27, Bucks 21. Gave the Bucks a little bit too much credit there. The Lions are 5-1 now after a 20-6 victory. The Lions are tied for the top seed in the NFC. This one wasn't too difficult to pick. I had the Dolphins 33, Panthers 13. Ended up 42-21. We know how that went. Would have been closer had Mike White not decided to give the Panthers a gift there at the end. I'm proud of this pick. I had the Raiders 20, Patriots 17. Ended up 21-17. You can't get any closer unless you get it perfectly right. And the best part is that picking against the Patriots is working. Next up, I had the Ravens 27, Titans 20. I picked a 7-point game. It was an 8-point game, 24-16. Like I said, it was a good week on my end. The Ravens continued to win. I think the Titans, not that this comes as a shock to anybody, but I think the Ryan Tannehill, it's over. It's over, right? So what happens from here? I'm a Tannehill fan. I got his jersey sitting up over there. But Father Time waits for no one. Next up, I had the Texans 26, the Giants 20. Oh, excuse me. The Saints 25. So I had Texans 26, Saints 25, ended up 20-13 Texans. There's again, competent, right? Some of these teams that we expected to be really, really not so good, the Texans are in the mix for a wild card spot in the AFC. Now, that doesn't say a whole lot because everybody that's even remotely close to 500 in the AFC is going to be in the mix for that 6th and 7th spot. Next up, I had the Vikings 31, the Bears 20. Boom. 19-13 Vikings. Two teams that really kind of not, Justin Fields has broke his thumb or whatever the hell is wrong with it. Just, it's a shame because kind of thought the Bears were coming up. They're really not. The Vikings are bleh after last season. So no fun was had in this game. So that brought my week 6 total to 11-3. And I would have really had a good week had the Jets and Browns not pulled off shockers. My season total is now 58-34. The shocks, obviously, the Jets, Browns, even though I'm liking the Lions and I like Dan Campbell, I don't think I could have picked them to be 5-1 and tied with the Eagles and 49ers so far. All right, let's get into week 7. All right, so to start us off for week 7, a game that I do not enjoy picking this score. Nothing good. Well, yes, it would be good if the Patriots could find a way to beat the Bills. I have the Bills 34-16. There's probably a better chance of me flying to Mars over the weekend and making it back than there is of the Patriots beating the Bills. But there's always hope. There's always hope. Next up, I got the Browns 26, the Colts 13. That 13 might be a bit much considering it's Gardner Minshew now for the Colts. The Browns are going to keep on rolling unless they do something that surprised. Now it would be a surprise if they lose, how quickly it changes. Next up, I got the Seahawks 20, the Cardinals 9. Yeah, like 2 people are going to watch this game, and they might have to watch it at gunpoint. Next up, I got the Chiefs 40, the Chargers 33. If there's any team that could be the recipe for the Chiefs to get back on the offensive side of the ball, it's the Chargers. I don't suspect they're going to be keeping it close. Next up, I've got the Commanders 29, the Giants 20. Might be 49-20. You never know which Giants team is going to show up. The defense played a little bit better than I expected last week, but the Commanders have been competent. And so we're going to follow this trend of road teams winning games this week and to pick the Commanders. Next up, I got the Bucks 17, Falcons 16. Goes without saying this one could go either way. And again, there might be like 3 people watching this one. All right, here's the one. Yeah, I know. Hey, I'm not going to pick against my Dolphins, okay? Not under these circumstances. Dolphins 34, Eagles 33. I'm not under the delusion that the Dolphins defense is going to slow down the Eagles. So let's just be fair there. All right. But considering how all the talk around the league right now is that the Dolphins are 5-1, but they've only beaten crappy teams, and the fact that the Jets beat the Eagles last week, that gives us an advantage, except for the part where the Eagles probably want to make up for losing to the Jets last week. But I got to pick somebody. I'm not picking against the Dolphins right now. Cross your fingers that is the Eagles needing a field goal at the end and not the Dolphins, because we know what will happen if you put Jason Sanders up there. All right, this is last night's game. The Jaguars 33, Saints 23. That did not happen. We'll go over that next week, but I didn't get the picks out early enough, so I make sure that I put a community post that proves that this was my pick before the game went up. Next up, I hate making this pick. I really don't like this pick. And I hope I'm wrong. Ravens 26, Lions 24. It's a tough one, man. The Ravens are at home. The Lions are 5-1. To beat the Ravens at home to beat the Ravens on the road might be a little bit punching above their weight, but this is a close game. Could go either way. I hope the Lions win, but in terms of for my picks record, I kind of still got to go with the Ravens here. All right. San Francisco 29, Vikings 19. San Francisco needs to just take care of business here, all right? They blew their undefeated season. You know what I'm trying to say. They blew it last week. They need to make up for it here, the Vikings, even though, again, this is a road team winning. I think the Vikings are the perfect elixir for what was wrong with Brock Purdy last week. Next up, please, for Tom Grossi's mental stability, Packers 21, Broncos 20. The Broncos are not good, but every once in a while, they surprise you by not playing terrible. Kind of the same thing with the Packers, although I think some people thought the Packers were going to be a little bit better than they are. Again, this is the road team. I know it's in Denver. This is a sketchy pick. This is more kind of like I couldn't go both ways with what I wanted. I want the Lions to win. I picked against them. I want the Packers to win. I'm going to pick with them. Next up, I can't believe I'm picking the Raiders 24 to win on the road against the Bears 22. Two teams you should never trust. The Raiders have been mildly competent. The Bears have been kind of incompetent. There's a lot of road teams. I grasp that. And it wouldn't surprise me if after having my best week last week, picking all of these road teams leads me to have my worst week this week, but I've got room in my record. So we're going to go with the Raiders. And the last game, I got another road victory. Steelers 14, Rams 11. I think this one's a little bit more. I wouldn't call it a sure thing, but I think this one, you got a better chance of the Steelers winning this game than some of the other road teams that I've picked. Steelers, again, nobody really, there's so much parity in the league right now. This goes for all of the games, all of the teams. You have your few top teams, but basically everybody else, there's just a lot of meh out there. There's a lot of 8-8 or 8-9, 9-8 teams. And look, even 7-10 and 10-7. I mean, the difference between 7-10 and 10-7 is a missed field goal at the end of the game, is one or two plays. It's it's 3 games. It easily can be 3 plays. The difference between a 7-win season where people say they suck and a 10-win season and a team that people say, oh, look, they made the playoffs. It's the margin is so razor thin. You have to win the games that you're supposed to win, and you have to win the games that you have an opportunity to win in the end. If you blow games, that's the difference between 7 and 10 wins. All right, that's it for this week. Kyle and I will see you Sunday night, Dolphins and Eagles. I don't really think we're going to stream another game. I thought about it, but I think I'd rather watch some of the games and make some other content instead of having another stream. So we will be live 1/2 hour before that game kicks off. And if you're a fan of hockey and you don't know about that channel, I have Flying Fluffy Hockey, which I've been doing Florida Panther videos for now 8 seasons. So hop on over and subscribe over there. Other than that, go Dolphins. Appreciate all the support, and we'll see you again on Sunday.